Welcome to today's Wendy Wisdom. We're doing daily quick lives each day this week to celebrate the launch of our I Have Your Back plan, which starts this week. So let's get started. We are going to squash those crickets. I know that aren't really crickets this time of year, but we're going to squash them anyway with your passions and interests. Let's get started. So, are you in an active job search? Whether you're taking a break for the holidays or not, you've been in an active job search. It's been going on for a while. You've been applying for jobs, and all you get is crickets. Maybe the ATS is eating your resume. You hear some stuff about that on LinkedIn sometimes, and maybe you missed my live about myth busting that one. Maybe you finally get an interview, but then you get rejected, or maybe it's ghosted. You don't really know. You can't get a recruiter to find you a job because you didn't listen to me yesterday explain to you that that's not how that works. Raise your hand if this is you. You're running out of cash. You need a job yesterday. You're struggling to get interviews. And when you finally get them, you never make it to the next round. Or you're in that really special club nobody wants to be in, the one where you keep getting to the final round and still don't get the offer. Talked to somebody the other day. 6. Count them. 6. 6, 6, 6. Yeah. 6 times that's happened to the guy. Drop a rejected in the comments or send me a DM and say, Wendy, I'm over the rejection. Now, the good news is there are jobs out there that need what you have to offer. There are ways to make your LinkedIn profile more magnetic. You can learn how to coexist and work effectively with recruiters. You can squash the crickets with your passions and interests. You can master the inner game of rocking your interviews. You can even get in the driver's seat and rock the outer game of rocking those interviews. Use that guitar behind me, one of them. Right now is actually the best time to be job hunting, in part because most people are making a huge mistake, or as I would have said when I was a little girl, huge mistake. Taking a holiday nap, eating a ton of Christmas cookies, and drinking a ton of eggnog. Not smart. But they're doing it, and that means you have way less competition for all those start on January 2nd jobs. How great is that? I mean, it's pretty great, right? Now, the bad news is you've got about 5 weeks left to land that job before the new year. Your job search is expensive. For every month you are unemployed, you're losing thousands of dollars. It's $5,000 if you make $60K a year. It's $10,000 if you make $120,000. It's $15,000 if you make $180,000, in case you couldn't do the math. It's a lot of money. $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 a month. That's money not going to 401ks. It's money not paying credit cards. That money is spiraling. You need to make the most of every application, every view of your LinkedIn profile, and every interview. You need to be able to stand out in a highly competitive market now and an even more highly competitive market in January. All this job search stress is taking a toll on your health, your family, your happiness, your career path. All because you are not using tools that are available to you, assets that you have in your possession to get you on the fastest path to your next job. What if instead of struggling, you started applying to jobs that are a great fit with a resume that clearly states that you can do exactly what needs to be done at that company? What if you started getting interviews and rocking them? What would that be like? How would it feel? What will getting that job offer mean for you, your family, your finances, your health? If you are ready to start getting and rocking your interviews and getting an offer and landing that job, say job in the comments or drop me a DM and say, yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready for that job. Now let's get clear before we go any further on why you want to listen to me when it comes to squashing those crickets. I do not run a bug killing company. That's not why we're here. The reason you want to listen to me when I show you how to squash those crickets is because, reason number one, I have conducted 12,000 interviews. I always like to slow down because it's a big number and people are kind of only half paying attention. 12,000 interviews. I've taught hundreds of hiring managers and recruiters how to conduct interviews. I've designed talent strategy, the interview processes, and the scoring rubrics at dozens of companies. I've selected and implemented an Let's try that again. I've selected and implemented an ATS or 2 or 5 as well, more like 5. I've trained dozens of recruiters how to find amazing talent on LinkedIn. For 10 years running, I was in the top 1% of profiles viewed among recruiters. I've hired more than 1,000 people in my career. I scaled a fintech startup from employee 23 to employee 500 and a $100 million exit. Now that you know why you're listening, let's talk about what we're going to learn today. We're going to focus on squashing those crickets with your passions and interests. So step one, make a list of your passions and interests because they are cricket squashers. Passions and interests are sometimes the reason you are more qualified for a job than somebody who has the same or even better professional experience. Passions and interests can sometimes be valuable to an employer because it gives you insight into their products and or customers or commitment to the mission of their organization. If you don't use your passions and interests, you are leaving jobs and cash on the table. Okay, that's step one. What about step two? Step two is you need to highlight them on your LinkedIn profile because if people don't know you, they can't fall in love with you. If you don't highlight your passions and interests in your LinkedIn profile, you miss out on leveraging your passions and interests to get your next job faster, and you will keep falling asleep to the sound of crickets every night. You'll sleep a lot better if you make those crickets go away. Trust me. Step three, take that list of passions and interests and add it to a list of your spouse's passions and interests and your kids' passions and interests, particularly if they're about 5 to 18. They're still at home and they're not toddlers and preschoolers anymore. They've got passions and interests. And guess what your spouse's and your kids' passions and interests are? An open gateway to people who can open doors for you. Because who are the people you meet outside of the people you work with? The people you meet when you go to your wife's rowing competition, when you go to your husband's softball game, when you go to your kids' Little League games, when you go to ballet recitals and piano recitals and all the things. You meet those other parents, you meet those other spouses. Those are people who can open doors for you, who can introduce you to people. And if you don't leverage your passions and interests network, instead of the beautiful music of interviews, all you will hear is crickets. So, what do we do now? Well, are you ready to get on the fastest path to your next job or promotion? Well, first thing you can do if you're ready is if you want the cheat sheet on squashing those crickets with your passions and interests, drop me a crickets. You can do it in the comments. You can send me a DM. You say crickets, I'll get it to you. Now, I do want to say this job market has been scary. And that's now while everyone else is taking off from their job search. In January, they'll be back at it, applying away to all the jobs, whether they're qualified or not, just raising the number of job applicants for every role. And you're going to have a lot more competition. Now, here's the good news. It is possible to get on the best path to your next job. And when you do this, you will apply to jobs that are a good fit for what you want and what you have to offer, When you do that, you will start getting interviews and rocking those interviews and landing offers. If you want the details on my I Have Your Back plan for your holiday job hunt, you can start now if you're smart. You start in January if you want. Reach out in the DMs this week and I'll share all the holiday goodness I'm cooking up in my kitchen. And trust me, it's always delicious. Have a wonderful rest of your day.